Hi, I'm Nancy O'Neill. Today on Suncoast FYI, it's National Rehabilitation Week, a preview of the 89th season at the Players Center, and how you can help the Columbia Restaurants Community Harvest. All next on Suncoast FYI. Joining me now are CEO of Health South, Mark Braz, and Nurse Liaison, Jennifer Simon, to talk about National Rehabilitation Week. Good morning. Jennifer,
Good morning.
Welcome, and
Thank
Marcus,
you.
welcome back.
Good morning,
Nice
Nancy.
to see you. Now, refresh our viewers as to what you do at Health South and what types of patients do you see in your hospital?
Well, thank you, Nancy. Yes. We've been in the community for 33 years. We're an inpatient rehabilitation hospital, and we help patients achieve their functional independence. People who have some type of medical condition that requires medical management and oversight, and who have also had a functional decline in their lives. And we work with them for 2 weeks to a month to help them get back to a level of functional independence, back to the community.
So this is when they come out of the hospital, they come in to see you?
Yes, that's right, Nancy. It's after they've been either in an acute care hospital, or if somebody's fallen at home and it doesn't meet the criteria for an acute care admission, but again has a medical condition that requires physician oversight and has had some type of functional decline.
Okay. And why are you special? Why are you unique in this area?
Well, first and foremost, people don't realize that we're actually licensed as a hospital, but we get a special exemption if we meet certain criteria. And the biggest of which is that patients have certain diagnoses such as stroke, spinal cord injury, brain injury, that type of thing. We're also the only freestanding inpatient rehabilitation hospital in Sarasota or Manatee County. We're very large. We're one of the largest in the state with 96 beds. And our clinicians are specialized in the treatment of various diagnoses, and they treat as a team, unique diagnostic teams such as stroke and hip fracture, and that is very unique.
Okay, so you all work together to work with the patient individually.
Yes.
Now, Jennifer, why are you here? You're going to tell us about your story, right? And how you came to be with Health South.
Right. I worked for Health South as a nurse rehab liaison.
Okay.
And my assigned hospital is in Venice. And one day while I was working in that hospital, I myself got very ill. So I was here to tell my story, that I was very, very lucky that I was in that hospital. And I finally went to their ER. And I was diagnosed with something that's very rare and actually not that easy to diagnose. It's missed a lot. And that was an aortic dissection.
Oh my goodness.
Which is what John Ritter passed away from. It does get missed a lot, it gets mistreated a lot, but what it requires is immediate open heart surgery. So I went into the ER around 2 o'clock. By 6 p.m. I was in surgery being operated on.
Oh my goodness. Thank goodness you were at work.
Yes,
because it could have been a lot worse.
Well, and the symptoms kind of are like a heart attack. They're kind of not.
Okay.
So I didn't want to go to the ER at first. I just really wanted to go home and take a nap. But luckily, the person that was working from Health South with me in that hospital, and then employees from Venice Hospital knew me well, and said, "No, you have to go to the
You're not going home.
No,
Well,
don't go home and take a nap."
We're going to take a little bit more in depth at your recovery right now. Let's see how that goes.
For years, I've helped patients learn about their rehabilitation choices, but I never thought I'd be in their shoes.
Jennifer is a rehabilitation liaison. She meets with patients who need rehabilitation to discuss their options and talk to them about Health South of Sarasota. On May 12th, she was meeting with a patient at Venice Regional Bayfront Health.
When I got to work that day, I really didn't feel well at all, which is unusual for me. My coworkers took my vitals, and even though they were normal, they suggested that I go to the emergency room. But I didn't go right away.
Jen finished working with the patient, and when she was done, she looked pale and very ill. We told her it was time to go to the emergency room, and this time she agreed.
Jennifer's initial test came back normal, but she was clearly very sick. Because of this, a CAT scan of the chest was ordered with contrast, and it showed that she had an aortic dissection. With an aortic dissection, there's essentially a crack in the inner lining of the aorta, and blood travels between the first two layers. This condition is often fatal, and very few patients actually make it to the hospital alive. Because of this, she needed complicated emergency open heart surgery to try and correct the problem. However, this wasn't a guarantee that she'd survive.
Being a nurse, I knew how serious this condition was. So when I heard the diagnosis, I told Dr. Dreyer, "I'm going to die." "No, you're not," he said. "You're going to have surgery." The team at Venice Regional was great. Dr. Dreyer stayed at my bedside that first 24 hours. I was in the cardiac intensive care unit for 28 days. When it was time to decide on my next step, I knew I'd have the best chance of recovery at HealthSouth. Though at that point, I still wasn't sure I was going to live. When I first arrived at HealthSouth, I was very weak and could barely lift a pencil. I needed a lot of assistance with getting up, bathing, dressing, even getting ready to go to therapy. I needed assistance. I really didn't know if I was going to make it. I was shocked that I had made it as far as coming to HealthSouth. I still didn't know for sure that I was going to live. The care team was amazing. They helped me get from being dependent on them to independent when I got home. And they helped me set a goal, and my goal was to be able to go home and take care of my son. Gavin said that Dr. DeJesus had to make me better because he didn't know what he would do without his mom. That was the reason I think I did so well. I had a lot of work to do. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. My team here at HealthSouth Sarasota was with me every step of the way, keeping me focused on that goal and never letting me give up. I used to tell patients about our state-of-the-art hospital and advanced technologies, and now I was using it a lot. There is a feeling here of, you will get better, you can do this. After only 2 weeks, I was able to go home. I could take care of myself, and most importantly, I could take care of my son. I'm back to work helping patients, and now I have a real understanding of what they're experiencing. I think it makes me better at my job. I feel extremely lucky to have gotten such tremendous care for both my acute care and my rehabilitation. It's truly a life-changing experience. I have a new lease on life, and I'm not wasting a minute of it. Recovering from a major health event isn't easy. It takes a lot of hard work, but there's no better place to do it than HealthSouth Sarasota. Most people don't get this chance, so that's kind of amazing.
That is amazing, and thank God you're here, and thank God you had such a team taking care of you. So appreciate you sharing your story this morning.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Always nice to see you, Marcus.
Likewise.
Coming up next on Suncoast FYI, a preview of the upcoming season at the Players Center. We'll be right back.